In a move that stunned the world and sent ripples through international circles, France and Italy, long considered pillars of the European Union, have formally applied to join the BRICS economic bloc, a coalition traditionally seen as a counterweight to Western influence. This bold step signals a seismic shift in the global order, challenging not only the decades-old East-West divide, but also the very unity of Western alliances, like the G7 and NATO, which have shaped global politics for generations. The decision, confirmed early this morning, caught analysts and policymakers off guard, sparking intense debate and sending shockwaves through the corridors of power in both Washington and Brussels. France and Italy are betting that forging new partnerships with the fast-growing economies of the global South, nations that are rapidly gaining influence, offers more opportunity and potential for growth than sticking solely with traditional Western frameworks. The implications of this move are immense, touching everything from global trade and finance to the future of military alliances and international cooperation. As world leaders scramble to respond and strategize, the question looms larger than ever. Is this a fleeting diplomatic gesture? Or could it mark the beginning of a permanent realignment in global power structures? The world is watching closely as two of its oldest and most influential powers seek a new place at a different table, potentially reshaping the future of international relations. To truly grasp the magnitude of this moment in global affairs, we first need to understand what BRICS stands for and why it's become such a pivotal force on the world stage. The term BRICS was originally coined in 2001 by a Goldman Sachs economist to describe the rapidly growing economies of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. What began as a simple acronym soon transformed into a formal alliance, as these nations recognized their shared interests and growing influence. In 2010, South Africa joined, making the group even more representative of the developing world. BRICS isn't a military alliance or a tightly integrated economic union like the European Union. Instead, it serves as a powerful forum that amplifies the collective voice of the global South, providing a platform for countries often overlooked in global decision-making. It's about building alternatives to Western-dominated systems and creating space for new perspectives. Together, BRICS nations account for more than 40% of the world's population and roughly a quarter of global GDP. Their combined economic and demographic weight gives them significant leverage in international affairs, shaping debates on trade, development, and global governance. One of their key achievements is the new Development Bank, established in 2014. Unlike traditional Western lenders, this bank offers funding for infrastructure and development projects, often without the political conditions or strings that can come with loans from the IMF or World Bank. This approach appeals to many countries seeking fairer terms. In recent years, BRICS has expanded, welcoming Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, Iran, and Ethiopia. This expansion has significantly boosted the group's economic and energy influence, making it an even more formidable player on the global stage. For many nations, BRICS represents hope for a more equitable and balanced world order, one where power isn't concentrated in the hands of a few, but shared more broadly. That's why Europe's growing interest in BRICS is so revolutionary. It signals a shift in how global power is perceived and distributed, and hints at a future where new alliances could reshape the world as we know it. France and Italy, two of the original architects of the European Union, now find themselves at the epicenter of a major geopolitical shift that is shaking the foundations of Europe's traditional alliances. France, which has always championed the idea of a strong, independent Europe, now sees BRICS as a unique opportunity to regain lost global influence, open up new markets for its powerful industries, and assert its voice on the world stage. Meanwhile, Italy, grappling with years of economic stagnation and high unemployment, views BRICS as a potential lifeline, hoping to attract much-needed investment and boost trade by leveraging its strategic Mediterranean location as a vital gateway between continents. Both nations have grown increasingly frustrated with decisions made in Washington, feeling sidelined and overlooked in critical global affairs, and are searching for new ways to assert their interests. The recent energy crisis, along with a series of economic shocks, has laid bare Europe's vulnerabilities, highlighting just how dependent the continent has become on external powers for stability and resources. For both Paris and Rome, seeking closer ties with BRICS is a pragmatic and strategic move, one aimed at diversifying partnerships, strengthening their economies, and reducing reliance on any single power bloc. In an increasingly unpredictable world, this bold step is their attempt to safeguard national interests and carve out a more secure, influential future on the global stage. France and Italy's BRICS bid is a high-stakes gamble, offering big rewards and serious risks. Economically, it opens doors to vast new markets and access to BRICS-backed finance for infrastructure and innovation. Diversifying partnerships could make both countries more resilient to Western financial shocks. But the backlash from traditional allies could be severe. Political isolation, economic penalties, and a crisis within NATO and the EU. Aligning with autocratic BRICS members could spark domestic controversy and force tough diplomatic choices. Balancing democratic values with bloc loyalty will test their leaders' skill. The path ahead is fraught with both opportunity and peril. The announcement has split the world. BRICS members have welcomed France and Italy, seeing their interest as validation of the bloc's growing influence. Russia frames it as a blow to American hegemony and a win for multipolarity. In contrast, Washington and Brussels are alarmed, viewing the move as a direct challenge to Western unity. Germany calls for emergency talks, while some smaller EU nations eye the move as a possible precedent. The EU faces new internal fault lines between those loyal to the transatlantic alliance and those tempted by BRICS's promise. The global response reveals deep divisions over the future of alliances. The stakes for Europe and the world have never been higher. France and Italy's potential BRICS accession is the biggest challenge to the Western-led order since the Cold War. Two G7 members joining a rival bloc undermines the authority of institutions like the IMF and World Bank. It could accelerate the shift away from the US dollar, especially if the euro gains traction in BRICS trade. NATO's cohesion is threatened. How can it function if members are aligned with Russia? The move signals a shift from ideological alliances to pragmatic, interest-based partnerships. Other countries may follow, making global alliances more fluid and unpredictable. The map of influence is being redrawn before our eyes. We're at a crossroads, and the future is uncertain. France and Italy's move could fragment the Western alliance, triggering instability and competition between blocs. Or it could force the West to reform, offering a more inclusive vision and adapting to new realities. Paris and Rome may try to bridge East and West, but risk being caught between rival giants. BRICS itself is diverse, with democracies and autocracies, and new members will add complexity. Can the bloc maintain unity, or will internal divisions undermine its ambitions? The ability of BRICS to manage its diversity will shape its impact on the world order. The next chapter is just beginning. As of October 14, 2025, the old certainties are dissolving. France and Italy's BRICS bid is a symptom of a profound shift in global power. The gravitational pull of the global south is now too strong for even core Western nations to ignore. Economic pragmatism is overtaking old alliances. The world is becoming more interconnected and more fragmented. The coming summits and diplomatic maneuvers will reveal whether this is the dawn of a new order or the start of deeper divisions. The story is still being written. Stay tuned.